This episode is in partnership with Authority Magazine. Authority Magazine, a Medium publication, is devoted to sharing in-depth and interesting interviews featuring people who are authorities in business, pop culture, wellness, social impact, and tech.
Using interviews to draw out stories that are both empowering and actionable. Authority Magazine believes that good stories should feel beautiful to the mind, heart, and eyes. There is something noble and beautiful taking place in Cincinnati.
And it's all happening at the Noble Barber and Beauty Salon.
Because that's where Barber Vernon Jackson sets aside time to provide fun and fashionable haircuts to local kids with special needs. Vernon, welcome to Believe in People.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're really excited because you are a barber with a gift, and you give that gift away. I'm going to just jump right into this. In fact, you've called it the Gifted Event. What is that?
So the Gifted Event is a program and a time that I come in on my days off, and now which has now grown to do it on random Wednesdays for overflow, where I give free haircuts to children with different needs, whether it's they're on the autism spectrum, they have Down syndrome, spinal bifida, any challenges that, where it may become more of a challenge for them to experience in regular barbershops. I try to create the environment for them to get the experience that they deserve and the cut that they deserve.
I can still remember as a child myself going to the barber shop. And of course, I had to sit on like a wooden plank in the chair in order to reach up and to get my hair cut. But I also remember that it was kind of a nervous affair for me. I mean, I was a little bit scared because, the razor makes noise and there's a lot of men in there talking and everything. I mean, is that kind of multiplied with some of these kids that you take care of? Do you have to sort of treat them a little differently? We're going to show that video, a video of you with a young boy in a couple of secs here. But how do you sort of interact? Well, here it comes now. Are we going to listen to this, Victor? Is this what we want to do?
He's adorable.
Here we go.
It still makes me laugh.
Oh, good job. There you go.
So there's a part there where what's his name, this little boy, by the way?
His name is Ellison.
So there's a part there where Ellison goes stop, right like that, right there. And so Ellison goes stop and you pull back. And that's, I would assume that you're just taking his cue. You're cutting his hair, but you're attentive to him. How important is that?
Yeah. So where and at this time, this was Ellison's second haircut. His first haircut was just as funny, honestly. But before that, his mom would say like haircuts were one of the most like traumatic experiences that they had. And so at this time, just kind of filling him out. I said, Ellison, if you ever want to stop doing a haircut, just let me know. You ready to go? We do it. We keep it going. He said, and then next thing you know, I started cutting his hair, and he started, doing a stop and go thing. He turned it into a game. And to your point, where yes, for a lot of children, the clippers can the vibration of it can be will make them hyper. They're already hypersensitive, but then the vibration and sound of it may affect them differently. So what I do is I would sometimes turn the music up louder in the shop to help drown out the sound of the clippers. And then when it's time for me to do maybe the edge up, the smaller clipper or the trimmer vibrates at a higher frequency. And so and then the way that it vibrates sometimes tickles them. So what I do is I sometimes even keep the clippers on that would drown out the sound of the trimmers. So that way I can get a nice line by misdirection.
And Vernon, where did this compassionate, so almost like child whisper come from?
So my family would tell you I've always had it. And, but I started honing it probably in my early 20s. I volunteered at my church and in the kids club section in the 1-year-olds. And they end up calling me the baby whisperer because whenever they had a challenge with a child, they would bring the child to me, whether it's in the 1-year-olds group or 2, sometimes even the infants. I was able to calm them down before we called. I was like the last resort before we called the parents to come get their kids from the from the service. But what happened was, to be totally honest with you, when I started to look at children from a place of being human, from a place like this is their first time in, like, especially at the 1-year-old age, they're discovering life. And ones, I love ones, they're old enough to still be baby, but they're also old enough to start to transition to being more independent. And so I would really, sometimes I would pray with them, I pray over them, just welcome them here and talk to them and rub them and just meet them as spirit to spirit. And that's the approach that I take with doing the gifted event. I am very intentional about seeing them as human beings, not with what they are going through, just human beings.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the gifted event then, because why did you start doing it? It's the third Monday of every month. Is that correct?
Yep, third Monday and third Wednesday.
And so how did you come across the idea to do that?
So I'm a time nut. I'm a time nut. And what happened was I had a few families that would book an appointment that was scheduled for like a 15-minute kids cut, but they would never specify that their child had different needs. And so it would take up so much of my time and have me running behind. And so where I'm like, well, and for a long time, I had to figure out what could I own? And what I mean by that is what can I commit to? And so I was like, I'm off on Mondays and I'm very like, I hope my off day is precious. It's close to my heart. I said, I gotta come off one of my off days. I come in one of my off days. And so I picked the third Monday. And after a friend, I talked to her about the idea. She's like, I want to come in once a month to do a haircut for kids with special needs. She said, Vernon, do it. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I'm planning a month out. And, the first time I did it, had a few people come through. But when I posted it, two of my friends inboxed me on Instagram and said, yo, Vernon, like, can I sponsor a haircut? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Okay. And then after the second person, I shared it like, yo, everybody, like, it's so beautiful that people are rallying behind these kids and they're sponsoring haircuts. And next thing you know, it became a thing of its own. People just wanted to send money to support me and to support the vision of it. And so, I called it the gifted event. I didn't want to call it the special needs haircut event, right? I didn't want to do that, and so gifted was a term that has developed its own character as time progressed, which has become something that says like, yo, like to allocate a new term to describe these children, right? Even to the point that right now, parents and my followers are referring to the kids, no matter what they are challenged with, by calling them gifted. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, even now, as I talk about it, I'm still like, I'm in awe of how it has transformed a lot of people's hearts. Men who are softening up in how they parent, how they, are being okay to hug their child more or their young boys, and really redefining of how we look at our young boys and how we look at people with different needs.
That's beautiful. And I love the idea of people having the opportunity to sponsor a haircut. I think that's amazing because it really solicits a community. I think that's great. Vernon, question for you. Where did your desire, if it was a desire, to become a barber and a cosmetologist, where did that come from?
I really didn't have, a desire. It was one, I was always, coming up, I was fascinated by barbers. Like I thought it was cool because the barbers in my when I came up, they were the coolest ones. They do what they want. Like some of them, dressed real good. Like it was a whole life and persona that I learned about. But as I got older, I went to high school, up to Princeton High School, and my cowboy instructor came to the school. Was like, "Hey, they did a presentation." And I just said, "Well, you might want to check out the program." I said, "If I do anything, I'll go to barber school." She's like, "Well, let's come and check this out and let's start there." I did a tour, and then I was like, "You know what? This fits me." Because the school, the regular school schedule didn't fit my personality. It didn't fit me at all. And so going to a vocational school allowed me the opportunity to do part sitting down and studying, and then part, using my hands. So my attention span, it worked great. It worked great. And which actually goes into how I cut hair too. Because the kids and how they move, it keeps my attention, so I'm able to move with them. I'm understanding what's happening. So when the parents are like, "Oh, I'm sorry they're moving," like, "No, don't worry about it. I got this. It's fine. Like, we're one and the same right here. This is actually best for me."
Well, it obviously from what we've just been discussing, you're a tremendous people person. You're also a compassionate person. So and you connect with these people. So you're serving in more than one way, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. You're serving the public by providing a haircut, but you're also providing a lot more of a haircut. And that must be a really warm feeling on the inside.
Man, let me tell you, I'm glad you said that because I just had a family that just left, and a child was wheelchair bound, and they told me that he's had 14 brain surgeries. He's 7 years old and died when he was one. A Caucasian family with an African American child, and they love this boy. They love him so much, and he's fed. He doesn't eat, but he still has personality. He was so beautiful, and while I'm, after the cut, what a lot of parents do, and they drove from Dayton, it was like a 45-minute drive for them. They try to pay me, at least give me a tip. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, no, I gotta give you something. Can I give you? They try to put the money on my station. They try to, and I take it and I put it in the child's lap or something. Like, no, like you all do so much, and your haircut's already been funded. And this is an opportunity for you, as much as you give, to receive. That's what that's as I've been doing it. It's great for the child to be seen, but it's even cooler for the parents to be seen. And so that's beautiful to me.
That is beautiful. And Vernon, what have you learned from the kids that have taken you into their trust?
I learned, one thing about love is that, and because we all have love to give. We all have love that we're overabundant of having, but we rarely get the opportunity and to have the place to give it where it's received. And these kids have taught me that is true. That to really focus on aligning ourselves with people who understand our love and who can receive our love and can speak our love and allow us to be human in a place to grow in our own pace, not in theirs. And I did on my Instagram a couple of days ago from Gifted Monday. I interviewed a couple of kids that have been with me the longest, the oldest ones, who are now starting on Gifted Monday, who are now coming on a regular haircut day, and asked them what their experience was. And one of them, a kid named Nathaniel, he said, like, I don't talk asked him what his experience was before with me. He said, before I sit in a haircut, I get my haircut, we wouldn't say anything, but we wouldn't talk. But with you, I talk. And he said, I don't talk. In real life, I don't talk. And I'm like, okay, so how does that make you feel? He said, it makes me feel good. I said, what about it makes you feel good? He said, because I can talk about what I like to talk about. And I like you. Like, you're the best barber I've had. And I was like, in my head, that's what I was doing. On the outside, I said, oh man, come here, bro. But I watched it yesterday. I was laying on my floor on my break, and I had some tears beat up. The thing is, I just know how to be around people, have a compassion and passion for human beings, not really for people, like for the spirit, but for the spirit of people. But I'm just as much like in my shell. Like when I'm at home, I don't want to hear nothing. I just want to relax and be in silence a lot of times. So I'm very intentional about creating the space for me to recharge.
So Victor, who is the person behind the scenes here who makes this whole thing happen, also has a child with special needs. Wow. And I was just thinking, yes, the kid is probably kind of afraid for the first time when they come to the barber. But on the other hand, I'm pretty sure the parents are probably quite nervous about, like, what's my kid going to do? Is it going to work out okay? And I don't know if Victor wants to jump in here or not, but I mean, you said earlier, Victor, that you understand what's going on in these situations. Just ask Vernon a question or share one of your experiences.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kevin. Vernon, I would take my son to a barber shop or a hairdressing place, and he would freak out. So much so that the security in the mall would come by and make sure nothing was happening. Yeah. And so you gave some amazing tips, louder music, but what else can you help parents with? Because some kids will not walk into a barbershop. There's too much distraction. There's too much stimulation. You suggested loud music, which is fantastic. I never thought of that. But what else can parents do to make a haircutting experience a pleasurable one and also give the kid a good haircut?
Well, so one of the things, I have a friend in Houston. Her name is Angelica. She goes by Jelly. She does what I do. She goes to the family's houses to cut their hair. She's phenomenal. One thing she told me that was a good idea for her clients was to download maybe a Clipper app on your phone just to kind of play the buzzing sound, getting toy scissors or whatnot, practicing at home with the process, And sometimes, until you find someone that in the environment that can actually do it, it's okay. Like, you just might have to just do a buzz cut. You just kind of get it out the way until further notice, right? But I'll also tell you this. The spirit of a parent matters. Like, so when a parent is anxious and you're nervous about what's going on, the child is going to feed off of it as well. So it's very important to be still in your own heart and know, instead of having an expectation of how your child, not saying it's you, but how your child should be, just understand, I know this is scary. I know, I get it, and I can just get through it. I know it. When I'm doing the haircuts, when I'm talking to the kids, I'm like, it's okay. I know. We got to get through this. We're going to get this. It's almost done. We're almost here, right? And so, and sometimes I have to tell the parents, who are getting frustrated, just sit still. No, they're fine. They're doing what they know how to do. I put it like this: if you're claustrophobic, if someone puts you in a box or in an elevator or in a tight closet and tell you to sit there, how are you going to respond? Right? You're gonna go out your mind. And so, but if you have someone who has a coaching spirit, who's like, it's okay, I'm here with you. Give me a hug. That type of thing. That's why I make sure I greet kids where I check the temperature with high fives, with fist bumps, and with hugs. Yeah. Turn off. Yeah. So when my clients walk in,
That's great.
You know,
That's great.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
so great. Hey, Vernon, I bet you were a really sensitive kid growing up. I mean, because I'm hearing that you're an empath. Like, that's why you need to recharge. What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing coming up, it was, my mom was a single parent. She worked a lot. She was a single mother. And so, and our emotional relationship really wasn't established too much then, because she had when she was young, so she had to figure her own life out. And so with that, I just really, so I guess part of it was I just needed, I was looking for places to find love and to give love. But along the line, I had to tell myself, I'm not going to drown by not having anywhere to give what I have to give. I'm not going to drown in that. I'd rather figure out a way to really be able to share it in a healthy way. And so, probably, I guess the answer was like, by being void of it, I found a way to really give it.
Yeah.
So you are a barber. In many ways, you're a therapist.
Yeah.
You've kind of done it all. And each week on this little program of ours, which we call Believe in People, we ask this same question of every guest that comes on each week. So we're going to ask you, and that is, Vernon Jackson, or maybe Vernon L. Jackson, maybe. Vernon, why do you believe in people?
Why do I believe in people?
Yes, sir.
I believe in people because I believe in myself. I know what it feels like in the result of having faith in myself and having people around me that encourage me at their capacity to do so. And so having that kind of faith and seeing the result, leaving no room for me to question it.
There you go.
Yeah. And I love that it's such an authentic environment. You have somebody coming in. We don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I want to ask Vernon, we want to help support you. You have a GoFundMe. How can we help you? What do you need?
So the GoFundMe is on my link tree. If you're on my social media, it's in my bios. You can get a gifted shirt, through the store. But those are the best ways. And really, continue to support. And sometimes I may make a post about needing some fidget spinners or toys or whatnot, but, right now, that's the encouragement, the apparel, and that see people representing. Like it's pretty cool to look at my store and my online store and see people buying the gifted shirts. Like it's so cool, right? It's really cool. And watching as everyone support at the capacity that they've been supporting, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and I love being able to show. So I show the videos. I'm trying to show people the best way that I can while I'm also experiencing.
So what's the website? Is it a gifted event?
Yeah. So what's cool is right now the website is actually being finished, and for the gifted event as itself. Right now, it's going through my regular haircut portal. But that should be done hopefully within the next 4 days at the latest. Awesome. If it's done sooner, I'll text you.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we're here to help you. And Vernon, so grateful for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It was a great question. He has a good question.
Inspirational. We've just had an inspirational half an hour, and for that we thank you. Now go do your haircut.
I know, right? Yeah. I know.
We'll see Vernon. Well, Kevin, wow. Vernon is such an inspiring human being, a sensitive, inspiring human being. And I just feel so fortunate to have met him. And the kids are really lucky to have somebody that's so compassionate and so caring to their needs, which is amazing. And the fact that he learned so much from them too. So it's such a win-win. And it was such a great conversation.
If you want to check out some of these videos, go to noblebb.com and follow it along. You're going to see some really inspiring videos from what is obviously a very inspiring man, because, you know, he is there to serve, and he serves in so many ways beyond giving an awesome haircut. And if, again, as we say every week, if you want to meet another inspirational person, then subscribe to our podcast and join the ever-growing number of people who are subscribing. And of course, tune in next week for another edition of Believe in People and Believe in Yourself. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone.